Thanks a lot, guys. We welcome you to Oxford, Mississippi. This afternoon, number 20, South Carolina. And the Ole Miss Rebels from the SJV Pavilion, and the stakes are high, especially for an Ole Miss team that currently is on the outside looking in of the NCAA tournament picture. Joe Lunardi says a win today for Ole Miss could be big. Alongside Pat Bradley, I'm Richard Cross. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. Late February, stakes are high for everybody.
This is what it's all about. Both teams understand this. Big-time game today. And it starts with Colin Murray Boyles. This freshman, now everything South Carolina does is a team effort, but CMB has emerged as one of the top freshmen in the country, Richard Cross, not just the SEC.
Red
Explosive
hot.
lefty.
67% from the field over the last 5 games. For Ole Miss, it's a guy that's been doing it a long time. Matthew Morrell may be playing at the best clip of his entire career.
Well, there's no doubt. We know he can shoot it. You told me he's at 44% over his last 6 games from three-point land. The balance on his jump shot allows him to shoot that percentage, but he also is a big-time athlete. He can finish at the rim with authority.
21 threes made for Matthew Morrell over the last 6 games. If Ole Miss is going to punch its ticket to the NCAA tournament a couple of weeks from now, they're going to need Matthew Morrell to lead the way. Second meeting this year between these two teams. They played back on February 6th. South Carolina won that game in Columbia, but it was tight. They led by 17 in the second half and to hold off a late rally from Ole Miss. Murray Boyles and Cisse jump, and Ole Miss controls the opening tip. Murray with the ball, gets it to Matthew Morrell. Near turnover for Ole Miss. Rebels able to save the possession. This is a good South Carolina defense that gives up a lob and a dunk to start things off.
And we will see a lot of that high pick and roll. Great job by Murray, understands. Saw BJ Mack come up for the help, throw it as high as you want. Cisse's going to catch it.
Good to see Meechie Johnson back in the lineup. That one was blocked on the perimeter. He took an elbow to the head last Saturday in the second half against LSU. Went through concussion protocol, returned to practice on Thursday, and he is with the team today. You see the starting 5 for Ole Miss. Musa Cisse already with a bucket. David Brakefield. Shot clock at 5. Juju Murray trying to find some space. Pushes it up, spins off. Offensive rebound for Cisse, and reverses it up and in.
He started active today. Musa Cisse already has 2 buckets and a blocked shot.
He had only 2 points against South Carolina in the first meeting. BJ Mack. Davis working against Morrell, gets it up off the glass and draws the foul, so Matthew Morrell picks up his first. Chris Beard in his first season in Oxford. He's been good everywhere he's been. National Coach of the Year in 2019, trying to get Ole Miss to its 13th 20-win season all time.
Yeah, I was able to catch their walkthrough last night, watch a little game film with them, and the attention to detail on their scouting report, as you can imagine, is second to none. And we'll see, South Carolina's offense is extremely patient. Talon Cooper is number 2 in the SEC assist-to-turnover ratio, so they're going to use most of their shot clock. So you've got to be prepared, Ole Miss, to defend for a full 30 seconds each time down the floor and then finish it off with a defensive rebound.
Zachary Davis, the sophomore from Orangeburg, South Carolina, with a couple of free throw makes. Here's Alan Flanagan, who had a big game against South Carolina. It was the mid-range game that was so big. He did that a bunch in the first meeting. Comes up empty there.
Yeah, he made a bunch of tough twos, and South Carolina's defense is very good. Stay in front of the basketball, force you to take those contested two-pointers.
Talon Cooper was looking to the inside. Meechie Johnson guarded loosely by Flanagan. Tries to spin his way in. BJ Mack stretches the range. It spins out. Offensive rebound and a putback for Zachary Davis. He's got all 4 for the Gamecocks.
That's one way. You know, if you can win the glass game, if you're South Carolina, you can win the glass game. Get yourself a couple extra possessions on the offensive rebound in the conference.
Early on, Murray has been guarded very tightly by Talon Cooper. Here's Murray out front, a little bit of space. Cooper picks him up on the perimeter. Finds Brakefield on the opposite side. Brakefield to the elbow, dumps it off of Flanagan. Shot clock at 1, forces it up, grazed the rim, and South Carolina clears it.
South Carolina can get something early in transition. They'll try to do that. If not, they're going to take their time, like the post up BJ Mack.
We've seen this South Carolina team a few times, and one of the things that Lamont Paris has continued to talk about with us is the quality of the shots that they get, and that comes with patience on the offensive end.
And he brought in some good decision makers, too. He brought in guys that are going to be patient, make the extra pass, and you add up all those things, and you're going to get a good shot every time down the floor, which is part of my road recipe, by the way. To winning on the road, you got to be patient, get high-quality shots.
Cisse bump, puts the shot up, can't get it to go, but he's headed to the free throw line. And we've got subs coming into the game. There's Lamont Paris, second year at South Carolina. Incredible turnaround. You see overall 32 and 26. That's after losing 21 games a year ago in his first season. He's put together a really good squad this year.
Yeah, he's in the offseason. They identified where their weaknesses were and said, we're going to bring in guys that are more mature, veteran kind of guys.
Josh Gray and Jacoby Wright come into the game for South Carolina. Morrell comes back in as Juju Murray will go to the bench for the first time. Second free throw for Cisse, missed them both, but an offensive rebound for Jamin Brakefield. He's picked up by Gray on the perimeter. Brakefield drives, dumps it off down low. That's a tough pass to Cisse. Now South Carolina in transition, and Davis fouled all the way to the rim.
Very aggressive Zachary Davis to start this game, getting out in transition. No hesitation, I love that. Goes off 2 feet, strong, right to the rim.
That foul on Matthew Morrell is his second, and that's with 16:06 to play in the first half. Chris Beard did not like that call from Josue Nieves. Nieves joined by Steven Anderson and Lee Cassell as the officials today. Davis has 5 of South Carolina's 7 points as Morrell goes to the bench.
Yeah, South Carolina's been able to slow him down early on in this game.
It's an 8-0 run for South Carolina after falling behind 4-0. They've scored 8 straight. And the Gamecocks have a 4-point lead. South Carolina, this was their week with an open date. Murray with the floater. It's tipped out. That's a foul on Cisse, and that is not a spot where you want to pick one up for the big man. 15:51 to play in the first half.
Winter sports, more than sports. When your highlight reel opens the door to 4 years of higher education, 0 student loan debt, and NIL earning potential. When your stats include free room and board, nutrition and mental health support, plus medical care with extended coverage. And when your experiences, friendships, and development put you in the win column for life. For college athletes, sports just mean more.
I'm a guy who lost a bet and my dignity, as if watching my team lose wasn't punishment enough. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, odds are you'll be paying for that yourself. So get Allstate.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
I volunteer at a bunny rescue, and with Cricket, my bill is consistent, and I have unlimited data, so I can do what I love.
Unlimited data for unlimited cuteness. Smile, you're on Cricket.
South Carolina leading 8-4 over Ole Miss. You see what Joe Lunardi says right now. He has Texas A&M as the last team into the NCAA tournament. Ole Miss, one of the first 4 out. That's about as bubbly as it can get. Joe Lunardi says with a win today, Ole Miss could very well end up back in the field. What about the SEC as a whole? We've been looking at a predicted 9 teams This projection has the SEC with 8. Tennessee leading the way as the number 5 overall seed and a number 2.
Well, I expect Ole Miss to be right back in there. Consider this, going into the SEC tournament, most of your games are going to be against high-quality opponents, if not NCAA tournament teams. So they're going to have a few opportunities in Nashville and the SEC tournament as well to help their resume.
You know, one of the things that Ron Slay was talking about before they handed it off to us was LSU. Keep an eye on LSU down the stretch. They host Mississippi State tonight, and they've got a favorable schedule. They've won their last 2 against top 25 teams. There's a scenario where you could see LSU winning their final 7 games.
There's no doubt.
And that would mean 11 conference wins, but only 19 overall.
Right, and then you look at the quality of wins, though, and that's going to be the most important thing. You see Ole Miss switching some things up here, a little full court pressure, get the 10-second call.
That was a turnover by South Carolina. Ole Miss gives a different look defensively. TJ Caldwell into the game for the first time for the Rebels coming out of the timeout.
And that's a situation where South Carolina, you got to attack that, right? They were a little hesitant. When you see that press, you've got to attack it. Should have been 2 points on the other end if they could have.
Stephen Clark has come in for South Carolina. Grad transfer from the Citadel. Here's Brandon Murray from the elbow.
You'll see a lot of that high ball screens with Ole Miss wanting to get the bigs of South Carolina in the pick and roll.
Wow. Contact and then a foul on Josh Gray the other way.
Wow. Alan Flanagan, athletic, 6'6", not afraid, challenging big Josh Gray at the rim. That's a 7-footer right there.
Does that look like a freight train coming downhill?
Wow, what an effort. Talk about getting to the NCAA tournament, back into it, though. That's the kind of effort that you want to see for a team fighting to get back in it. Early on, that high pick and roll there in the middle of the floor worked for Ole Miss. Got Cisse a couple of dunks.
TJ Caldwell on the drive, and TJ Caldwell draws the foul. That goes against Zachary Davis. It's his first. Free throws coming up for TJ Caldwell. One thing we need to mention for South Carolina, Gamecocks are without Miles Studi today. He did not make the trip. Sprained his left knee at practice on Thursday. In the first meeting between Ole Miss and South Carolina, he was a big part of the Gamecock success. Hit 4 of 5 from behind the arc for 12 points in that game.
Yeah, at 39% right now, one of the better three-point shooters in the SEC. But South Carolina, their style of play lends to playing well on the road. They typically take care of the basketball. From a defensive standpoint, they don't gamble, right? They don't gamble, get out of position for a lot of steals and those types of things. So you'll see Ole Miss really have to work their offense to get a good look.
Pressure again from the Rebels. South Carolina gets it ahead to Michi Johnson. Here's Jacoby Wright into the lane. Kicks it out. Extra pass. 3 on the way from Johnson. It's good. Just off a straight-on 3, and Michi Johnson knocks out the triple.
Yeah, and that was that extra pass. You called it. They're always looking, of course, Michi Johnson, their best shooter, so they're going to make sure they know where he is at all times.
Really tried to deny the ball to Juju Murray. Here's Alan Flanagan, guarded by Johnson. Oh, tough contested shot by Flanagan. Cisse nearly had another offensive rebound. Couldn't squeeze it. Ole Miss started 2 of 3 from the field. They've missed their last 6 shots.
And that has been South Carolina's defense. They do a good job of just staying in front of the basketball so that now you don't need help. Because if you can command that double team, now the defense gets in rotations, and that's when, as an offense, you can get some good looks. But South Carolina's done a good job of staying down in their stance, not getting beat off the dribble, which Ole Miss is. That's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to turn the corner, get to the rim.
Hey, by the way, a second ago, I had the wrong 7-footer for Ole Miss. I said Cisse. It was Jamarian Sharp.
Oh, there you go. They get a couple of them.
I mean, he's 5 inches taller than Cisse. I should be able to recognize that. Josh Gray. the free throw line. You get a look there at Jamarian Sharp, and now Josh Gray. A couple of weeks ago, and it hasn't been a super productive year for Josh Gray in terms of numbers. You know what he's capable of? He went out, knocked down 15 against Georgia a couple of weeks ago. Well, and that's big there because Colin Murray Boyles was just called for his second foul. So the two guys that we talked about right out of the gate, Matt Morrell, Colin Murray Boyles, both with 2 fouls with just under 14 to play in the first half.
Well, and the one thing that South Carolina doesn't have a lot of is that interior size. You know, Josh Gray comes in as a 7-footer and block shots, defensive rebound. Outside of him, Colin Murray Boyles also a shot blocker. Not much more athleticism or size, but really good. You know, you look at Talon Cooper at 6'4" point guard, so he brings some size from that position.
Since the first 2 buckets from Cisse, has Ole Miss had an open look in this game?
They really have. They really have. And you know, again, going back to that South Carolina defense, that is just a shell. You have to have hard cuts, hard screens. We've seen that we've seen Ole Miss have a couple of decent looks at it, missed some layups, but outside of that, it's been contested 2s that they've been forced to shoot.
Colin Murray Boyles staying in the game for South Carolina, playing with 2 fouls. One of the 5 starters in the game right now for South Carolina. You've also got Jacoby Wright on the floor. Caldwell contested, 19-footer won't go. Ole Miss has missed 7 straight shots. Colin Murray Boyles just muscles his way inside and gets it off the glass. The Gamecocks now lead it by 7.
Well, what you love from that move is he got good position early, and then he caught it, didn't waste any time, spin move, used that strength and explosiveness right to the rim.
Murray guarded by Cooper, contested again. Every shot Ole Miss is taking is with a hand in their face. Rebels have gone almost 6.5 minutes without a made field goal. This may be their best offense getting out in transition. Caldwell has it knocked away by Murray Boyles.
Yeah, that was a great situation right there for Caldwell. Did they call the foul?
They called a foul on it there.
It looked like, you see, Murray Boyles, yeah, he reached in. He tried to pull back his hands and say, nope, but he caught him. And that's a situation there with a freshman he's going to learn. That is not how you want to get your 3rd foul.
Coaches have different philosophies about leaving guys on the floor with 2 fouls. Sometimes it's about trust. This one tipped out by Sharp. Brandon Murray 3 on the way, missed everything. All it hit was the backboard.
Well, that's 4 offensive rebounds, and something I think Ole Miss may be able to take advantage of is get in the offensive glass. Try to get you extra possessions.
Another block there for Ole Miss. Ahead to Flanagan, lays it off the glass and in. Ole Miss, one of the better fast break teams in the SEC, averaging just over 12 fast break points per game. And asked Chris Beard about that, and he said they got to miss some shots.
Right, exactly. They do. And listen, they play with a slower pace, okay? And it's not that they take the air out of the ball or anything. They just are under control, patient.
H.E. Johnson tried the 3 over Sharp. And Ole Miss trying to get something in transition. And Jacoby Wright called for a foul. And a little too handsy there, and picks up his first. A 5-point lead for South Carolina in a low-scoring game here in Oxford at the SJB Pavilion. Take a look at today's Mayhem Moment brought to you by Allstate. We actually look back to February 6th. Late game, Ole Miss trying to come back. Looked like a clear path to the rim. Colin Murray Boyles got a block. That's part of the reason that South Carolina was able to hang on and get that 3-point win over the Rebels.
Depending on what colored jersey you wear,
Perspective.
you get a different perspective on that play right there. But CMB is has been playing fantastic, and his growth. And one thing Coach Lamont Paris tells us every time we ask about him is his vision. As a young player, he's got incredible vision. And we saw it right there, just that anticipation to get over, slide over, and at least contest that shot. But he's another guy in the offense, too. He's patient. He knows when to shoot it. He knows when to pass it, where he should pass it. So his athleticism and instincts are God-given. And he certainly isn't anywhere near where he's going to be. His ceiling is high, my man.
Talking about perspective on whistles, there were actually 2 no calls late in that ball game. The block at the rim there by Murray Boyles, and then some contact on Matthew Morrell, taking a 3 with the clock winding down inside 5 seconds, that some people that wear red and blue thought should have resulted in free throws. There's Jacoby Wright again, called for another one.
Yeah, and that's obviously unnecessary foul there. And talking with Coach Beard, he wants his team to stay dedicated to attacking the paint, attack the rim. South Carolina doesn't have a lot of rim protection. Josh Gray, the 7-footer, and CMB, call it Murray Boyles, are really the only shot blockers they have. So the other side of that, too, if you stay dedicated to attacking the paint, you're going to get South Carolina in foul trouble. Get to the free throw line. That's high percentage shots, right? We talk about high percentage shots, free throws, layups, and open jumpers. So a lot of positives if you can get to that rim for Ole Miss.
Ole Miss 5th in the SEC in free throw shooting, 74.8%, and they are in the bonus now with 11 minutes to go in the first half. In this game, Ole Miss has 3 made field goals and 4 made free throws for their 10 points.
Well, it's not going to be easy. Nothing's easy against South Carolina's defense. You just got to stay dedicated to what it is you're trying to do, and that's attack.
Kobe Wright, 3 on the way. Won't go. Flanagan with the rebound. He tries to push it. Lobs it ahead, and Cisse went way up. Pass led him just a little too much.
He did. Big fella was pumping his knees. Looked like Usain Bolt running up the floor there. Great. You like that advanced pass, though, by Allen Flanagan. You got to make that pass.
Strip. Don't know if you give that a steal or a block for T.J. Caldwell, but he took it away from Jacoby Wright down low. Brakefield working against Davis. Drives in, turns around, left hand, and more free throws coming up.
Well, that's the move. You have Allen Flanagan was looking to attack there, didn't have it. Brakefield caught it right at the elbow. Really good position, put his head down and just attacked. Ooh, great defense.
Fouls piling up for South Carolina in this first half. 3 on Murray Boyles. He's on the bench. Zachary Davis has 2. Jacoby Wright has 2. And Jamin Brakefield misses the first of 2 free throws here.
You see Ole Miss staying dedicated to their press, their pressure, which I thought that previous possession, Jacoby Wright might have jumped up and came down with it, but there was no call.
Jamin Brakefield has entered the 1,000-point club.
Very exclusive club.
Jacoby Wright off the skip pass, gets it out to Mack. Now out front to Taquan Cooper. Cooper went right by Nunez, then he turns into Gumby. Just kind of contorted his body to get away from Cisse and get the bucket.
I mean, not a lot of players are going to be able to finish that.
Flanagan from the free throw line gets it to fall.
And that's where Al was money in their first meeting, getting right to that SEC logo area, and he's so athletic and strong, he can rise up against any defender.
Did we just see shots go in on both floors? Consecutive possessions?
Things are going to loosen up a little bit, Rich. You know that.
DJ Mack hands it off to Wright, curling off the screen. Some contact, does not get a whistle. He does get the bucket. Lamont Paris absolutely thought that was a foul. Flanagan on the drive. He thought probably should have been a foul there. And a timeout taken by South Carolina. Talon Cooper called that timeout. once South Carolina secured it to avoid losing the possession.
Coach Baird had talked about that yesterday, how South Carolina is going to defend or try to defend without fouling. You saw a perfect example right there. South Carolina goes up vertically. They don't reach in. So he was telling his players, you got to expect they're not going to foul you. They're going to try to just go up vertically. You got to gather yourself and just go up strong.
Next Saturday at noon Eastern, these same 20th ranked South Carolina Gamecocks back home to take on number 24 Florida at Colonial Life Arena. It's right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Florida, one of those teams that is projected to be in the NCAA tournament. 88-73. They were a winner earlier today over Vanderbilt to get to 9-5 in conference play. Also had Arkansas winning 88-73. What a day today for Caleb Battle. 42 points in the Razorbacks win.
You look at Arkansas this year. They've had, Tremont Marcus had a game where he's just gone off. They've had multiple guys have big games. It's just been the consistency that they've been lacking.
Arkansas now with back-to-back SEC wins for the first time this season. That one on the road in the midweek against Texas A&M, but at home today against Mizzou. DJ Mack.
You see that South Carolina offense. They got 5 guys outside, nobody in the paint clogging it up.
Juju Murray with a steal. Pick that pass off. Flanagan attacks and finishes with the left hand, just shy of the rim to make it a 2-point game.
Every time he touches it, he better be looking to attack that paint, because there's nobody that's going to stop him to get to that rim. It's just about him finishing.
H.E. Johnson on the drive. He overshot the rim. Again, Flanagan pushing it. This time lays it off for Murray, looking for a 3. Does not get the roll, and South Carolina digs it out.
You got 3 guys for Ole Miss hitting that offensive glass. Got a finger on it, just weren't able to pull it in. That's
DJ Mack, open 3, dead center.
In their offense, in South Carolina's offense, they move the ball so well, but 5 guys are also moving. DJ Mack is going to be the key, because he's going to find himself open at that 3-point line.
Brakefield lost the handle, got it back, and got it up off the glass for a bucket. Three points now for Jamin Brakefield. From the corner, how about a 3 for Talon Cooper? He shoots 44% from behind the arc. Pretty selective when he takes them. That's his 41st made 3 of the year. Cisse off the wraparound pass. What a feed by Murray.
Excellent middle ball screen again. Juju Murray keeps his dribble alive. He knows they're going to try to take away. Me scoring to the rim or fall back on Cisse. Made the correct decision.
Morris Ugasuk is in the game for South Carolina. Here's Cooper on the drive. And whistle, foul on Ole Miss. That's Jamin Brakefield drawing the whistle. Gamecocks have been in front most of the way, leading by 4.
Winter sports, more than
SEC tournament back in Nashville, March 13th. Coverage on ESPN and the SEC Network. 4 teams playing for that double bye. Currently Alabama and Tennessee at the top of the standings. Then South Carolina and Auburn. A race to the finish we've got. And some big, big basketball games still to be played over these last couple of weeks.
Oh, a lot of meaningful games. And what Alabama is able to do this season, when you consider what they lost from last year, Clown, Ediako, Winterly, Mark Sayers comes back, and my goodness, he has taken on a role. Not only does he score, but he facilitates, playing the best defense of his career.
Pretty entertaining game at Rupp this afternoon with Alabama in Lexington to take on Kentucky Wildcats. H.E. Johnson gives it away. Contested 3 won't go. It's tipped around, and Ole Miss will get it. Flanagan gives it off to Brakefield.
That was good. He caught it, and he knew he was going to try to attack that gap right there. Another high middle ball screen.
Ole Miss has not made a shot outside the paint in this game. You had the one kind of mid-range jumper from Flanagan. This one blocked out of bounds by Gray.
Great block. And consider Matthew Morrell, right, with foul trouble. He takes about 31% of their three-point shots. Good job by there. Josh Gray, 7 foot, has to get out on the perimeter and defend. But Brandon Murray, he got the message from Coach Beard. We're going to attack, fellas, all night long.
Murray gets it into Brakefield. He'll let it fly from 3. Won't go. Murray nearly had the rebound. Fighting there for it, but couldn't hold on.
Well, man climbed the ladder on Josh Gray up there. But, yeah, so Ole Miss, a really good three-point shooting team. Number 2 in the SEC at 38%. Don't take a whole bunch of them. But Matt Morrell is their primary three-point shooter. With him with foul trouble, not going to get as many up.
Peachy Johnson fouled on the shot. That's the 7th foul on Ole Miss, so South Carolina now in the bonus, but this is a 2-shot situation regardless.
It's been fun to watch Meechie Johnson really transform his game. He's always been a really good spot-up shooter, and we've seen him this year take on a bigger role, not only putting it on the floor and finishing, but also just from point guard and the decision, that facilitating mode, he's able to do that too.
Some 10 points per game in SEC play. For the year, he's 18th in the entire conference in points per game, averaging just under 14. H. Johnson, a couple of years at Ohio State before transferring to South Carolina last season. Six-point lead for the Gamecocks, one off their biggest in the game. Flanagan left it short. Stephen Clark pulls down the rebound. Five minutes left in the opening half. South Carolina leading by 6. Davis working on Flanagan, spins, tries to dump it off to Gray, tipped around, ends up back in the hands of Gray, and he goes up for the reverse lay-in.
Incredible interior pass in there. Zachary Davis he averages about 4 points a game. He's already got 6, and he's been extremely active on both ends.
Murray on the downhill drive, trying to float it over Gray. Touched last by Brakefield. South Carolina's got it headed the other way.
Right there, good tip pass, another good pass by Clark. Good finish by Josh Gray.
Bucket here, South Carolina makes it a double-digit lead. Up 27-19, closing in on 4 minutes to go in the first half. Gamecocks coming off back-to-back losses. For the first time this season, they've had a week to get ready for this game. Wright has it stripped out of bounds with 6 on the shot clock.
Good hands by Flanagan. It makes it so difficult, though, is because the paint is open. So now you just got to beat your guy one-on-one. Get by your guy. Even Josh Gray at 7 feet, he's outside near the three-point line, but he's setting screens. That's what makes one of the things that makes South Carolina's offense so tough to defend.
Johnson on the drive, tipped around, and a foul with .1 left on the shot clock.
I'm gonna have to look at that one.
It's gonna take us to an officials timeout, and the officials are headed to the monitor with South Carolina leading it by 8. Energy. Good to have the guys in studio this afternoon. They'll get you up to date with everything that's happening in the league at the half. But housekeeping, the foul happened before the shot clock expired, and so South Carolina has free throws coming out of the timeout.
Yeah, and they spread you out, gives them the ability to attack that paint. And Slade was right there. South Carolina's half-court defense has been excellent. And we know that they're a really good defensive team. They're connected. They don't take a lot of chances. They force you to score over them, right? They're very good at getting down and staying down in their stance. But for Ole Miss, I think you just got to continue to attack. Without your primary three-point shooter, Matt Morrell, you know, he's their most explosive scorer. So don't forget, he's been on the bench. I guess at the 16-minute mark he came out. So second half is going to look a lot different for Ole Miss when he comes back in the game.
That foul was on T.J. Caldwell. Zachary Davis makes 1 of 2 at the line. The lead for the Gamecocks is 9. Ole Miss has had multiple 3-minute scoring droughts in the first half. They've hit just 7 of 26 shots and are 0 of 3 from behind the arc. Brakefield trying to get to a soft spot in the middle of the lane, and then he shot it too strong, and Gray pulls down the rebound.
That's a look you want right there in the paint. 4 or 5 footer.
So you're supposed to make that, though,
that's the idea. That's the idea. Zachary Davis having a heck of a game. He's a great cutter, right? So you'll see him a lot of times on the weak side, cut to the basket, and they're good at finding him. But today he's been doing it with the ball in his hands.
Today was the 12th straight start for Zachary Davis after coming off the bench for the first half of the season. His season high is 12 points. Caldwell off the back iron. Another one-and-done trip for Ole Miss as Jacoby Wright gets the rebound on the offside.
And early in the half, we saw Ole Miss hitting that offensive glass. And because of the style that South Carolina plays, you're not going to get as many possessions in the game as you normally would. So you got to try to create possessions.
Ole Miss able to come up with a steal.
And get out and run here before that defense sets.
Caldwell got the steal, but it was really created by Brandon Murray. That's a tough pass into the lane. Jump ball, possession arrow to South Carolina.
A couple bodies still on the floor, too. Yeah, Jalen Murray trying to make something happen there. Understanding if we can get in the paint, good things going to happen.
Davis limping off the floor. Talon Cooper and B.J. Mack back in the game for South Carolina.
And with Miles Studi out, that Davis injury, hopefully he can get back in because they're already down 1 man.
Flanagan and Cisse just came back in for Ole Miss. Matthew Morrell getting set to check in with 2 fouls with about 2 minutes left in the half. It's an 11-point lead for the Gamecocks, their biggest. Talon Cooper working against Nunez, has it blocked by Cisse out of bounds. Only 2.9 left on the shot clock.
Great help by Cisse coming over. Nunez doing a good job of just staying in front. You see he doesn't reach in, keeps his hands high, knows he's got a shot blocker behind him.
Ole Miss gets a steal as Morrell comes back into the game. Juju Murray pulls up for 3 in transition, too strong. Ole Miss now 0 of 4 from behind the arc. Stephen Clark trying to post down low against Murray, but they couldn't get it to him. Minute and a half to play.
There's that switch that they wanted.
Shot clock won't go, but a long rebound for South Carolina. Michi Johnson into the corner, open 3. Jacoby Wright buries it for the Gamecocks.
How often have we seen a 3 off of an offensive rebound? That time South Carolina did a good job as Ole Miss defense is scrambling to get back to the guy. Move the ball quick for an open J.
A 10-0 run for South Carolina over the last 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Damon Brakefield looking inside to Cisse, who was just backing down Michi Johnson. And Johnson was called for the foul.
You had to find a way. That's good ball movement right there. Talon Cooper recognizes the open three-point shooter in the corner. And yeah, you've got to find a way to get it to Cisse in there. That big fella right there had Michi Johnson on his hip.
Moussa Cisse, 6 points in the game. He's also got 3 blocks in SEC play, it has been a struggle for him at the free throw line. It looks good on that one, shooting just 36% from the line.
Huh?
Does it work that way?
Yes, very good. I was worried there for a second.
And a lane violation. Somebody stepped into the paint early on a free throw that went in.
Well, they probably playing the percentages, trying to get a little bit of advantage if that thing did come off the rim.
Cooper guarded tightly by Brakefield. Three on the way, and that three is good for Morris Ugasuk. And a timeout taken by Ole Miss, and South Carolina all of a sudden leads this game by 16 as Ole Miss has gone 6.5 minutes without a made field goal. Final regular season Thursday women's basketball doubleheader on the SEC Network is coming up. Texas A&M and Tennessee at 7 Eastern, followed by #1 undefeated South Carolina on the road against the Razorbacks. That's at 9. Coming up on Thursday, SEC Network and the ESPN app.
And your man Ugasuk finds himself open for the three. They make 8 per game, South Carolina, and again, their offense is predicated on spacing, which allows each guy the ability to attack the paint and kick out for three, but they just move the basketball so well. And that, they find open shots because of the patience on their offense. They wait to find that breakdown in the defense.
South Carolina 5 of 9 from behind the arc, and they've had 5 different players hit a three. Jacoby Wright's got one, BJ Mack's got one for Ugasuk, one for Talon Cooper, and one for Michi Johnson.
Yeah, that offense is very efficient. They've got guys that can go one-on-one, Michi Johnson, BJ Mack, but they also got guys that can hit that three to stretch that defense out.
Ole Miss rallied from a big deficit in Columbia. That ball was touched last by South Carolina, just trying to lob it down low, but 2 garnet jerseys there. Yeah. Bracketing Moussa Cisse.
Well, you had Matthew Morrell coming off a Moussa Cisse screen, and so Cisse can set a ball screen and roll, or he can set a screen on Morrell's man on the offside and roll to the basket. 2 different actions there, hoping for the same result.
Flanagan with shot clock winding down makes the jumper.
He's going to get that shot all night, right? We know he can do that.
Cuts it to 14. Talon Cooper on the drive off the glass. And South Carolina will take a 36-22 lead into the locker room, looking for their 10th SEC win. You see 18-3 this year when leading at the half. We'll send you to the studio. Here's Dari. 14-point lead for South Carolina, 36-22, as we get ready to start the second half of this ball game from the SJB Pavilion at Ole Miss. Alongside Pat Bradley and his fancy pocket square, I'm Richard Cross. Great to be with you. Pretty dominant first half performance by South Carolina, especially defensively.
Yeah, they really were. They're an excellent defensive team, half-court defensive team. They stay down in their stance. They force you to take tough, contested 2-point shots.
The lowest first half shooting percentage for Ole Miss all season long. South Carolina in the first meeting against Ole Miss hit 7 first half threes. They hit 5 in the first half today.
Well, the reason you're able to do that if you're South Carolina, you have 9 assists on 12 made buckets. Richard Cross, that's an assist rate of 75%, if my math is correct. I was told there'd be none, but we are here with some math. They average 60% assist rate. It's good for number 20 in the country.
Those 5 threes from 5 different players. Zachary Davis leading the way for South Carolina with 9. Alan Flanagan, who had 26 in the first meeting against the Gamecocks, had 8 points in the first half. Ole Miss 0 of 5 from behind the arc. And the Rebels in a big hole as they get ready to start the second half in a game that is critical to their postseason hopes.
There's no doubt. They're going to come back this half, I think, with, I'm sure Coach Beard lit a fire underneath them. And that man right there is got a lot of work to do after having foul trouble in the first half.
Matthew Morrell Played only 4 minutes in the first half. They get it to Musa Cisse for the dunk. Cisse's got 7 in the game.
Great action. They started the game out the exact same way, running that high middle pick and roll with the alley-oop to Musa Cisse.
Beg your pardon, he's now got 9 points in the game. Most of the basket on its opening possession. B.J. Mack looking to answer off the mark. The follow is there for Zachary Davis. He's now in double figures, 1 off his season high.
He has been a big difference in this game. We've seen him make a jump shot. He's attacked the offensive glass, and he started out in the first half posting up.
Morrell shoots an air ball. It's grabbed by Brakefield. You see the update from Joe Lunardi. He's now got Texas A&M as one of the first 4 out. Ole Miss moves down 1 spot to 4th of the first 4 out. Flanagan, crossover, finds some space, knocks down the 17-footer, and he's fouled on the shot.
That's a shot he can get anytime he wants. Explosive. We talked about his 6'6" frame, athleticism, great step back right there. The key to that, once you step back, you got to get back on balance. You saw 2 feet on balance, bends his knees nice.
Flanagan sold that little bump at the end as well. Got a hand on the stomach, and then he ended up in the bench. So Flanagan at the free throw line.
He knows how to get a few calls here and there.
That's a tough one for Zachary Davis. Ole Miss fans tried to come to life for the first time today. Their team trailing by 11. B.J. Mack working against Brakefield. Mack trying to muscle it up, and he does with 3 white jerseys around him.
That was some incredible patience to wait for that moment where just able to sneak it up there, and Cisse was there ready to block it, couldn't get a fingertip on it. B.J. Mack likes to do that, man. He's little Charles Barkley right there.
Flanagan working off the screen. South Carolina defended it well. Shot clock under 10. Morrell working against Johnson. Shot clock under 5. Tough fadeaway, and Morrell knocks it out.
Well, Ole Miss has 2 guys who can make tough shots. Off the dribble, and Al Flanagan and Matthew Morrell.
Cooper gets all the way to the rim, goes down, no whistle from the corner. Davis off the mark with the 3, and Murray gets the offside rebound.
That was a nice job by Talon Cooper to get back and stop that basketball.
Flanagan gonna try a 3. Johnson with the rebound.
Good job by Brakefield not to lose B.J. Mack in that action. Cooper
Finds some space just inside the free throw line, and he gets a friendly roll.
He's a tough guard. Tough cover at 6'4", patient. Just got his shoulder into Jalen Murray. Step back, 10-footer.
Got a whistle and a foul underneath. A long way from the ball. Zachary Davis not pleased with it. The initial call was a foul on Ole Miss on Alan Flanagan, an offensive foul well away from the ball, and they're going to go to the monitor and take a look at it to make sure it doesn't need to be upgraded.
Yeah, sure was fighting for position. We get a look at it.
Taking a look to see if there's a flagrant underneath, and
see if we can take another look at that.
Happened early as you saw Davis going to the ground after the contact with Flanagan. Lee Cassell and Steve Anderson watching it, so Flanagan goes like elbow to the side of the head.
Yeah,
that one's getting upgraded, isn't it?
That you would think that would get upgraded for sure. Now I think some of the Ole Miss coaches are talking to the officials, saying that there had been previous contact.
So what was happening that got it to that point?
Exactly. So maybe they're trying to rewind that to see what the whole interaction was. Because you would think that someone...
Yeah, what you saw there clearly was an elbow to the side of the head from Alan Flanagan.
And that's not something that he does. He's not that type of a player.
The officials will talk it over to be sure. You think only a flagrant 1, or could they possibly elevate it to a flagrant 2, which would lead to an ejection?
Well, that hopefully not.
Should get an explanation here in just a moment.
Oh,
I think that the word is that actually has been elevated not to a flagrant 1, but to a flagrant 2, and that Flanagan has been ejected from the game.
From what we saw in that video right here, you can clearly see. Let me see what he yells. You're gonna. Oh, okay.
All right, so they're actually going to go back to the monitor and go a little bit farther back in the play. So as it stands right now, there's a flagrant 1, or excuse me, a flagrant 2, and Flanagan has been ejected. You see what they're looking at: severe and or extreme contact, severity of it, hard contact to the head, and so that's what you had. But now they're going back to about the 17-minute mark as they're coming down the floor. You see Zachary Davis. Not a lot there. And Flanagan with the retaliation, and his day is done.
Yeah, Coach Beard is talking with the officials now.
So they went back and looked and saw nothing additional there. Yeah. So the ejection stands and nothing on Davis from coming down the floor. And that's a blow to a guy that had 26 in the first meeting between these two teams. Has scored in double figures in 24 of 26 games this year for Ole Miss. A flagrant 2. So now Zachary Davis at the free throw line for South Carolina.
Yeah, for Alan Flanagan, we just talked about how valuable he was, his ability to score in one-on-one situations.
Flanagan had 11 points in the game. He and Moussa Cisse have combined to go 9 of 16 today. The rest of the team is 2 of 19.
Well, and that with Matt Morrell obviously on the bench for the majority of the first half. Now, Morrell is going to have to, he understands the assignment. He's going to have to shoulder a lot of that offensive presence.
Officials perhaps a little more aware of that right now after what we saw in the Alabama-Florida game earlier this week. A call that was not made during the game but led to a suspension this week. Colin Murray Boyles has it blocked by Cisse. That's his 4th block of the game.
That was a scouting report block right there. Understood when Colin Murray Boyles was going to spin that left hand.
Inside to Cisse, he's fouled by B.J. Mack.
Good job by Cisse as Murray Boyles spins. He's right there, goes straight up.
Javarian Sharp leading the SEC at 2.4 blocks per game. Cisse well above his season average of 1.5. He's got 4 today. Ole Miss, big part of what they do on the defensive end. It's an Ole Miss team that has had its struggles defensively this year. They've been a great shot blocking team.
Yeah, there's no question. And they've got the 2 7-footers. There's a 7'5" Sharp. And that takes a lot of pressure off your guards, man, when you know you get a couple of shot blockers back there. You can put a lot of pressure in the perimeter.
Morrell just picks up his 3rd, and that's not what Chris Beard and Ole Miss wanted. And those SEC struggles at the free throw line for Moussa Cisse continue.
Yet Ole Miss, you know, the importance of Matt Morrell, takes about 30% of their 3-point shots. Been on fire recently, last 6 games.
Only 2 shot attempts today, none from 3. Davis travels with it, shuffled his feet before he put the ball on the floor. And that takes us to an official's timeout. 15:57 left. South Carolina in front by 14.
Huddle.
We welcome you back. The first time since South Carolina has been in the AP Top 25 since 2017. Their first win in Knoxville since 2017. You look at the metrics for South Carolina, a couple of quad 1 wins, 6-0 against quad 2. Joe Lunardi currently has them projected as a 7 seed.
And South Carolina is built for tournament style play because they can play different styles. They take care of the basketball, they defend, they make threes.
Ole Miss fans haven't had a ton to cheer about today. How about the guy shooting for $1,000 from half court?
Oh, Kyle made the pass. That was key. Great pass on time, on target for the three. $1,000, you get it right now in cash? How does that work?
I don't know how that works, but that's a pretty good day at the office.
Is it a check? Yes, it is.
College student with a little extra jingle now. South Carolina leading it by 14. Matthew Morrell 3, and he is fouled on the shot. That foul is on Michi Johnson. Lamont Paris didn't like it. I try to decide if he's upset with his guy or the call.
Well, he's so mad because he understands the last thing you want is for Matthew Morrell to start seeing that ball go through the rim and get some kind of rhythm.
See him averaging nearly 18 a game in SEC play, and the shooting percentage numbers are good. Over the last 6 games for Matthew Morrell, he's made 21 of 48 threes. That's 44%. And he's shooting 49% from the field. This is the second. A couple of subs coming in for South Carolina. Jacoby Wright and Josh Gray back into the game.
And up to this point, South Carolina's done a great job taking care of the basketball. They're sitting on 4 turnovers right now. Ole Miss has thrown that full court press on them. That's another reason for their success. Their assist to turnover ratio was number 2 in the SEC.
Morrell makes 2 of 3 at the line. Lamont Paris was right in front of us. As Michi Johnson came off to him, he said, "You have no say. That shot either goes in or it doesn't go in. But don't foul it."
No. I mean, you just contest, put your hand up, and he's right. That's all you can do. You're not going to block the shot. I mean, the only one you see blocking jump shots is Moussa Cisse.
Davis was trying to feed it to Josh Gray off of the pick and then the roll to the basket. Gray had to throw it off of Murray's leg to keep the possession alive. Juwan Cooper. Oh, contested baseline jumper with the shot clock winding down. Juwan Cooper at his 3rd school, Minnesota last year, after 3 seasons at Morehead State.
What you appreciate about him is he's a facilitator first, but then, as all great point guards do, at the end of the shot clock, ball in their hands, they also have to be able to score, and he can do that.
Nunez and Juju Murray go to the bench for Ole Miss. Brandon Murray and TJ Caldwell come into the game.
Another good job breaking that press. And Ole Miss is hoping to speed up South Carolina a little bit too, force their tempo. Ole Miss averages about 69 possessions a game. South Carolina's at 62, so it gives you an idea of the difference. 69 is about the average of college basketball.
Davis had it stripped away, and it was touched last by South Carolina.
But that's it, getting extra possessions, whether it's playing on the ball, deflections, steals, offensive rebounds on the other end. Ole Miss started out, first 9 minutes of the game, had 4 offensive rebounds, but only finished the half with 1 more offensive rebound.
Brakefield being guarded by Murray Boyles. He gets to the rim and he's fouled on the way.
It's a good attack. Got to stay committed to attacking the paint against South Carolina right now. Force the issue. 3-point shots not falling. Attack the rim.
Ole Miss 0 of 6 from behind the arc in the game. That foul went on Josh Gray. It's his second. Conference play 13 per game for Jamin Brakefield. He's got 4 today. Brakefield had just 4 points in the first meeting against South Carolina. That was back on the 6th of February. Jacoby Wright, 3 is good from the wing, just in front of the South Carolina bench.
Now that was a quick shot. Not typical for South Carolina's offense, but Talon Cooper did a good job. You get some overhelp by Ole Miss in that corner, and you find a wide open 3.
Second time today that South Carolina has led by 16. Brakefield working against Cooper, rims out, tipped up and in by Cisse.
Good work. Good work on the offensive glass.
$11 points today for Moussa Cisse. That's 1 off a season high. Ugasup. Shoots an air ball. It's grabbed underneath by Colin Murray Boyles, and he's fouled. Brandon Murray picks up the foul.
He missed a good portion of the first half with some foul trouble too, and Ole Miss has done a good job of making life difficult for him, not allowing him to catch it where he likes to, forcing him outside of the paint. Right there, that was just sheer strength and athleticism over Brandon Murray for that rebound.
Murray Boyles just 4 points today. He's averaging 19 over his last 5 ball games, including a 31-point game against Vanderbilt. Ole Miss turns it over in transition. Good steal there by Jacoby Wright.
Yeah, that was excellent vision. Stepped right in that passing lane, knew exactly where Ole Miss was going with that.
Tipped around, and Murray Boyles ends up with it, and he goes straight to the rack.
Good things happen when you stay around the rim. Look what I found, Murray Boyles. Probably the easiest 2 he's going to get all afternoon.
Brakefield has a tip, nearly a steal there for Murray Boyles. Gets into the lane, tries to dump it off. He does. Cisse, he's got 13 points, a new season high.
Yeah, and that's one thing Murray Boyles is going to learn. He reaches, puts himself out of position now, which allows the penetration in the lane, and the defense breaks down.
Tipped away by Ole Miss. South Carolina keeps it. They'll inbound in front of their bench as B.J. Mack comes back in for the Gamecocks. And Juju Murray is back in for Ole Miss. Rebels 0 of 6 from 3. It was the first time this season where they didn't have at least 2 made threes in the first half of a game.
Yeah, they've got multiple guys that can make them. Juju Murray, Brakefield, obviously Matthew Morrell. 38%. They don't make a ton of them, but they shoot it really well from 3. And you feel like at some point that they're gonna make a couple, and that's gonna open up their offense.
Michi Johnson, shot clock winding down. He's guarded tightly by Cisse, and Brakefield gets the rebound.
Great defense. Brandon Murray coming over for the help to close down that driving lane.
Pass was off the mark a little bit, so no catch and shoot from the corner opportunity for Morrell. Brakefield going to try a 3, and Ole Miss finally gets a 3 to go.
He can make that shot. You saw him get in rhythm a little right with his right hand, a side step.
So an 11-point lead for South Carolina, and an offensive foul on Talon Cooper as Brakefield held his ground. Ole Miss trying to generate a little momentum in the second half.
Winter sports, more than sports. When your highlight reel opens the door to 4 years of higher education, 0 student loan debt, and NIL earning potential. When your stats include free room and board, nutrition and mental health support, plus medical care with extended coverage. And when your experiences, friendships, and development put you in the win column for life. For college athletes, sports just mean more.
I'm a guy who lost a bet and my dignity. As if watching my team lose wasn't punishment enough. And if you have cut rate car insurance, odds are you'll be paying for that yourself. So get Allstate.
When you buy 10 tickets on Vivid Seats, you get the 11th ticket free. I wonder what my 11th will be. You're trash!
Coolidge Ball was the first African-American student athlete at Ole Miss in any sport. Played basketball for the Rebels from 1970 until 1974. Raised his family in Oxford. Earlier today at the half, Ole Miss honored the Ball family. Coolidge passed away this past summer in August of 2023. Scored over 1,000 points, was a second-team All-SEC player in both 1972 and 1973. And was an inductee into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. His wife, Ruth Ball, had some tears as she saw the tribute to her late husband at halftime. And they made commemorative Coolidge Ball jerseys for the students at the game today. Really nice way to honor the memory of a man who meant a lot to Ole Miss athletics.
And you're Ole Miss. You're thinking, how can we flip this game into our favor? Well, you just saw it right there. Hard traps on that sideline ball screen. Almost got to turn over the previous possession, get a charge down here. But the other thing they have to do, they've got to defensive rebound. We saw Murray Boyles come up with 2 offensive rebounds. One of them was for a putback yoke. Outside of making shots, right? Yes, they're going to make shots. But how can they create extra possessions? Defensively, they've been good. Giving up 2 offensive rebounds doesn't help.
There's a strip and then a foul. So Meechie Johnson strips Matthew Morrell, comes up with the steal, and then the foul on Matthew Morrell is his 4th.
Well, if you expose the ball, they're going to get it. And they don't typically, they're not a high steal team, South Carolina's defense, because they play you honest, straight up.
But if you just leave it out there, they're willing to take it.
They're going to take it. If you're going to try and give it to them, they're going to take it.
So Matthew Morrell goes to the bench. Ole Miss has hit 5 of 7 shots since the Allen Flanagan ejection. Here's B.J. Mack. Working against Musa Cisse. Gets the handoff to Meechie Johnson. Looking to roll. They throw it inside. Mack ends up with the ball in his hand. May have had it partially blocked by Cisse. If they give him a block on that, that's 5 in the game. Then a lob, but a little too much. Cisse trying to grab the loose ball. Who touched it last? It'll stay on the offensive end for Ole Miss.
That was an incredible effort by Cisse. Guards the ball screen. I didn't think you could throw it too high for him. That's a second alley-oop to him that's gone through his hands.
He catches this on the high inbound, muscles his way up. It was blocked by the rim, got it back, and then turns it over. Meechie Johnson trying to lay it in, overshot it, but there to clean it up is Jacoby Wright. It was a big swing there.
It really was. And if you're Ole Miss, I mean, you've got 2 point-blank shots right at the rim. That's just unfortunate at times.
Eugene Murray gets it off to Brakefield, headed toward the rim, and he draws a foul. Foul on B.J. Mack.
See it right here. They just collapsed on Musa Cisse, and good job of Meechie Johnson reading that, getting in that passing lane.
2 fouls now on B.J. Mack, and Jamin Brakefield back to the free throw line. Ole Miss 10 of 17 as a team today from the line.
Yeah, and they're a 75% shooting team, top 5 in the league. So when your jump shot is not falling, as they 1 of 7 from the three-point line, you cannot also struggle from the free throw line.
And rare to see Jamin Brakefield struggle. An 83% free throw shooter, makes 1 of 2. He's 3 of 6 from the line today.
See Brandon Murray now, good ball pressure. Brakefield comes over for the help, but you give him any space. I'm telling you, he's the key to their offense because he can make that three, and when he is, it opens up the paint for their drives.
Second three-pointer made for B.J. Mack today. He's got 39 now on the season. Brakefield with the lob, sharp, never caught it cleanly. Goes out to Caldwell. His three is an air ball. That's the easiest rebound that Zachary Davis will get all year.
No doubt. We've seen it now the third time an alley-oop wasn't able to be converted by Ole Miss. Just couldn't put your hands on it.
Ole Miss had cut it to 11. South Carolina has pushed the lead back out to 15 as we close in on 9 minutes to play. Cooper, physical, takes it out, same shot. This time Mack has it spin out, and a foul on Sharp. It's a good offensive rebound for Zachary Davis.
Yeah, it was. He's 6'7", athletic. That's another way he could impact the game. And he's had a really good game. He's impacted it from every which way you can imagine. He's got on the glass. He's made shots. The guy only averaging 4 points a game. He had to step up. No Miles Studi. So who else is going to step up and give you just a couple more buckets?
Matthew Morrell back into the game. He has been plagued by foul trouble today. Has played only 12 minutes. That's for the guy that leads the SEC at almost 35 minutes per game.
Brandon Murray is fighting B.J. Mack on that block.
Murray Boyles kicks it out. Shot clock under 5. Michi Johnson on the drive, lost the handle. They say he touched it last, and it's Ole Miss ball going the other way.
And Brandon Murray did an excellent job there, just going straight up. Matt Morrell fighting in the paint.
Lamont Paris wants to know where the whistle was. He saw the contact. He did not hear the whistle.
Yeah, we'll see it a lot now from a defensive standpoint. These guys practice every day. Just go straight up, verticality. And you know, the referee's doing a good job of letting them play through that.
Brandon Murray knocks out a three. Murray from Germantown, Maryland. Former Maryland Mr. Basketball. Started his career LSU and then to Georgetown. He was on the all-freshman team back in 2022. B.J. Mack and 1. Strong move for number 2 in Garnett.
And that's his move. Patient, that spin move right there. I mean, he'll spin 2-3 times in possession. Right, left.
B.J. Mack really is deceptive. If you look at him and you look at his body type, you don't think, okay, this is a guy that can really hurt you from 3 and is going to have that kind of quickness with a spin move, but he has proved people wrong all season long.
Good footwork, and he knows when he can feel you on his hip, right? He's as good as anybody. Spin right off you for a shot.
Juju Murray forced it up, almost looking for a foul as opposed to trying to make the shot. It's getting to the point of the game where Ole Miss cannot afford many empty possessions. And then you got a foul on the Rebels on the other end of the floor. That's Brandon Murray. Picks up his second. South Carolina in control, leading it by 14. Today's player spotlight is brought to you by Wendy's. Zachary Davis. Potential can be kind of a scary word sometimes when you talk about players. But you look at Zachary Davis. He's long, he's athletic, and his coaches think that there's a lot more there from him.
Well, what I like about what he has done today is he's mixed it up. He's gotten on the offensive glass. He's a really good cutter. That's what his role in this offense has been. when they spread out, all 5 guys behind the three-point line, he's just cutting and moving. But today, he's found his shot. You know, it's interesting. He takes half of his shots from the three-point line, right, this season. He only shoots 25% from the three-point line. So that's why you want to encourage him to attack the rim, offensive rebound, do all those other things. And that's how he's going to continue to earn minutes.
Third double-figure scoring game this year for Zachary Davis. He had 12 against Arkansas. He's got 12 today. Also had 10 points against DePaul. Colin Murray-Boyles at the free throw line. Makes the first for South Carolina. That last foul on Ole Miss was their 7th team foul. So the Gamecocks will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Eight points now for Colin Murray-Boyles. Matthew Morrell on the floor playing with 4 fouls for Ole Miss.
You see now that zone with Zachary Davis up top, man. It's tough to see over that length and get a shot off over that length.
Brandon Murray from the corner. Got the signal from the official where they will go back and take a look at that one.
Good ball movement, got it to the corner there. That's where you're going to have an opening for a 3.
Batted away by Caldwell. South Carolina runs it down in the backcourt with the shot clock under 10. Hooper puts his head down, trying to find some space. Gets a little bit, floats it up, and Murray runs it down for Ole Miss. Gets it to Caldwell.
Good cut.
Murray on the floater, and Gray pulls down the board.
Ole Miss has gotten them in there. They just have not been able to convert those in the paint.
The shot a moment ago from Brandon Murray was ruled a 3. They will go back and look at that during the next break.
That's tough. Murray-Boyles is so strong. He's given time to back you in. That's a tough assignment for Matt Morrell.
6 straight games now for Colin Murray-Boyles with double figures. He's sitting on 10 points today. Juju Murray draws the foul.
Look at that camera angle.
Toe on the line?
Looks like it. Coach Lamont Paris explaining.
It's like an extra color analyst. You got a sidekick now.
Jacoby Wright. He didn't like the fact that he didn't turn him back into the help. And Juju Murray's a hard driving right-handed guy to the rim, and Jacoby Wright just allowed him that driving lane.
I wasn't sure who he was talking to. I didn't realize that Michi Johnson was down in front of the scores table in front of us.
Well, he wanted to be talking to Jacoby Wright, but he was talking to anybody who would be listening. Fortunately, we were listening. Coach, we're listening to you.
So Juju Murray goes 1 of 2 from the free throw line, and free throw shooting has been an issue today for an Ole Miss team. It shoots 78%. Murray comes up with a steal, and he lost the handle on the way up. That's a turnover by Ole Miss off of the steal.
They got what they wanted, a great read by Jalen Murray.
We've got a timeout on the floor. We'll take it as well. 5:47 to play.
Winners.
Lane Kiffin in the house, taking in a little basketball with his
The
daughter
coach.
today. SJB Pavilion.
Did you see the fireside chat with Coach Kiffin and Coach Baird?
It's kind of must-see TV, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they're good. Lounging out in some lounge chairs on the football field.
South Carolina, 3 players with 3 fouls. Wright, Davis, and Murray-Boyles. And Ole Miss, of course, has 4 on Matthew Morrell.
And one of the things Coach Chris Beard talked to his team about was attacking the basket. Good things will happen if you attack. You saw Juju Murray right there, perfect example of it. And so obviously he felt like that's where the strength, well, his team was of beating the South Carolina defense, was attacking And also you get foul trouble on the opposing team, get to the free throw line. Always a good shot.
They did go back during the break and look at that shot from Brandon Murray that was ruled a 3. It is turned back to a 2.
3. We were right.
I'll give you credit on that one.
And the other thing, too, South Carolina, again, they take care of the basketball. They don't give it away. 9 turnovers right now. Ole Miss has tried hard traps. They've pressed.
Inside to Mack. Good seal and a good finish for B.J. Mack.
Yeah, and that was a great pass, too.
Ole Miss down 17. Matthew Burrell fouled on a 3 for the second time today. That's Michi Johnson.
Here's B.J. Mack. Good pass by Michi Johnson. The only place that he could have put it for Mack to catch and finish, he did. Good seal by B.J. Mack. And I think we've seen more fouls on the jump shot than any other game this year. I don't have the official statistics on that, but it seemed that way. Both teams. Matter of fact, the second time Matt Morrell is going to the free throw line on a fouled 3-point shot.
Both by Michi Johnson, right?
Both by Michi Johnson, that's right. And he protested.
I'm sure he appreciates.
He protested both times.
Murray rattles the third one around and gets it to fall. Excuse me, Morrell does. Cuts it to 14. Ole Miss was trailing by 17, which was the biggest lead of the game for South Carolina.
Only a second off of the shot clock, so they'll only get to the 20 seconds to get it past half court, which they've had a 10-second call this game already.
Not this time. Oh, my goodness. Colin Murray Boyles explodes up with the left hand.
I mean, did you see how high that basketball bounced after he dunked it? Wow. Now that's how you break a press.
Burrell's 3 is short. Talon Cooper finds some space.
It's a great ball fake. There's a few guys in our league, Ezra Munyon and certainly Talon Cooper, get in the lane. They know how to ball fake, get the big man up off his feet.
Look at this.
Ooh. He's explosive. Now, if you could drop a press break and have him be the guy that finishes every time, that's what you're going to want to drop. Him finishing at the rim. It'll be fun to watch him and his progression over the next couple of seasons. Although we hope that we see him. Just his talent, and you know he's doing everything now on just his instinct and his athleticism. And he's a high IQ player. He's got great vision. He understands when to pass, when to shoot, but just all the other little things. We see him make some defensive mistakes, reaching in maybe when he shouldn't, and getting himself out of defensive position. But so athletic, he can recover.
From Columbia, South Carolina, played there through his junior year. In fact, he was the 4A Player of the Year in the state of South Carolina. Transferred, though, to Wasatch Academy in Utah for his senior season. Talked about maturity and playing high-level competition. I'd say it worked out well. B.J. Mack trying to get another one. He got another one.
So that's an example right there, right? Colin Murray Boyles is in the lane. He could have forced up, right? He could turn. We've seen him make that shot. What does he do? He turns that down, kicks it out to B.J. Mack at the three-point line.
3:59 to play. B.J. Mack, was that the nail in the coffin? We'll be back after this. South Carolina by 17.
Winter Sport.
Big bounce back for Big Blue after the loss at LSU earlier this week.
Needed it, and they got it.
Long way to go.
Long way to go.
16-point lead at the half. The rough feels pretty good. 4 different South Carolina players in double figures. Jacoby Wright's got 10. Zachary Davis has matched a season high with 12. B.J. Mack doing his thing, 15, including 3 made threes. for number 2.
They do such a good job of sharing the basketball. Right now, 16 assists on 25 made buckets.
Austin Nunez in the game for Ole Miss. Here's Brakefield guarded by Murray Boyles. Matthew Morrell, 3 on the way, and it won't go. Touched last, though, by South Carolina, so Ole Miss keeps it on the offensive end. Clearly, this South Carolina team is an NCAA tournament team, and so much of the tournament is about matchups.
Sure.
Can you see them as a second weekend team?
Oh, there's no question. There's no question, because they do the little things, right? We just talked about the assist to turnover ratio for South Carolina. So they're not going to beat themselves. They're a good rebounding team. They spread the floor. They're a veteran team. They defend. So, you know, their game translates to different styles. If they have to play a little up-tempo, they can do that as well. But you mentioned the balanced scoring, so if you're preparing for them, you know, it could be any guy's night.
Ole Miss comes up with a steal. Brakefield leading the break, 3 on 2. He takes it right down the middle and lays it in. Jamin Brakefield in double figures today for Ole Miss. What about on the flip side? It's an Ole Miss team that has been bubble in for the last month and a half. They are now bubble out and going the wrong direction at the end of the season with just 4 games remaining.
Well, certainly, but we just talked about how impressive this South Carolina team is. I mean, certainly no one thought that they were going to be in this position. I know Coach Lamont Paris did. So, you know, for Ole Miss, this is a game where you couldn't make any shots. I mean, not only from the three-point line, but they just had a rough night shooting the basketball from the free throw line, from the paint even.
Almost 35% for the game, 18% from 3.
But Ole Miss, think about it, okay? You host Alabama, right? You take care of home. That's a great opportunity. You got Missouri, Georgia on the road, and then back with Texas A&M. So you've got multiple chances to show the committee that you belong in the NCAA tournament. And then we talked about the SEC tournament, right? You're going to have another opportunity to get some quality wins. So they're fine. They're fine.
But it's getting late.
It is. It is. However,
I guess the point is the margin for error is becoming really, really small for Chris Beard's team.
I mean, really, it always comes down to win. You got to win games. Like, you got to win to get in the NCAA tournament. I don't care who you are. If you're, if you're one of the teams that is quote unquote a lock, those teams, they got to continue to win. So there's a lot to play for, and they know what's in front of them.
Ole Miss's season low field goal percentage for a game is 36.8 today, shooting 35%.
So, like South Carolina, I don't know if they're still getting the respect that they deserve nationally. So, this isn't a bad loss at all.
Brakefield, blocking foul underneath, goes to the floor hard.
And one of the things Coach Paris talked to us about was, the message to his guys, because they read everything and they see the Joey brackets updates. If they feel comfortable, we're already in. We're a lock in the tournament. So, he doesn't want his team to sort of just glide into postseason play. There's a lot for South Carolina. Your seeding, you want to continue to play well.
Jamin Brakefield kind of holding that left wrist. He's going to be helped off the floor and will go straight to the locker room. And that is not good news for Ole Miss.
No, that's a tough fall right there.
And so South Carolina gets to choose from the remaining 4 players on the floor who will shoot the free throws, and they put Moussa Cisse at the line.
Man, that's always such a dangerous play when guys get airborne and just natural. You're putting your hands down there to
try and catch
fall.
yourself, yeah. Well, his right hand was the first to make contact with the floor, but it was the left hand that he was holding. Rule if player leaves because of injury, the opposing team gets to choose from the remaining 4 players that were in the lineup at the time who shoots the free throws. And going from Brakefield at 83% to Moussa Cisse is an advantage.
Yeah, that was good.
And he missed both.
Good coaching call by Coach Harris.
Arkansas winning earlier today against Missouri, led by Caleb Battles, 42 points. Florida been playing really well in the second half of SEC play, moved to 9-5 in the league with a win at home against Vanderbilt. I already told you just a few minutes ago, Kentucky up big at the half over Alabama at Rupp. And Auburn, Georgia coming up after us on the SEC Network. Texas A&M and Tennessee in Knoxville tonight on ESPN. And then we'll wrap up the day with Mississippi State and LSU on the SEC Network.
And you love to see Ole Miss putting that full court pressure on, still trapping, running, getting in passing lanes, attacking.
Matthew Morrell with the 3. He's in double figures now. South Carolina currently 58 in the net rankings. 2 quad 1 wins. 6-0 in quad 2 games as well. Currently projected as a 7 seed. So part of the opportunity you were talking about earlier with South Carolina is the chance to elevate that seed.
There's no question. And that's what they should be focused on. And really, you also want to finish the season. You don't want to crawl to the finish line here at the end of the season. You want to be playing your best basketball.
Not an easy finish for South Carolina. After this game, they go on Wednesday night to College Station to take on Texas A&M. They get back-to-back home games against Florida and Tennessee, and then they close it out against a Mississippi State team that they beat to open SEC play back in early January.
4 NCAA tournament teams?
Yeah.
That'll get you tested. That'll get you ready for the tournament.
You think?
Another great trap.
Ball was knocked away and hit the end line. Touched, though, last by Ole Miss. So the Gamecocks, once again, will inbound, leading it by 14 with 96 seconds to play.
Caught Jalen Murray reaching around.
Remaining games for the Rebels this season. They've got Alabama coming up at home. No easy assignment there.
Oh, but a great opportunity. And that's what you ask for.
It's what you need at this point as well.
And then you go on the road at Missouri, at Georgia. I'll actually be at that Missouri game. 7:30 Central tip Saturday night.
Morrell short with the 3. Kept alive by Murray, and then he's fouled. Got hit in the head. Jacoby Wright called for the foul, so Juju Murray will go to the free throw line.
It certainly has been a physical game. Both teams play physical. You can tell just with some of the foul trouble we've had, some of the guys just playing tough, playing physical. Both coaches coach that way.
Combined 36 fouls in the game. 20 have been called on South Carolina, 16 on Ole Miss. It's always great for game flow.
Exactly right.
Or he gets them both, gets Ole Miss within 12.
Well, I'm going to say Ole Miss is not going to have troubles shooting like they had today for the rest of the season.
35% from the field today. Ole Miss 18 of 51. South Carolina's been efficient, shooting 44% from the field, 8 of 16 from behind the arc.
Well, they have, and they move the basketball. They don't care who gets the credit.
B.J. Mack leading South Carolina today with 17 points, including 3 from deep. But he's also done work down low.
Yeah, that's the key for South Carolina's offense, too. When he is knocking down that shot, that three-point, because he's matched up against the other team's center. So think about that, right? I mean, he's an undersized center. He does a lot more than a traditional center. But so if he can be a threat from that three-point line, it just puts so much pressure on the opposing team's defense.
Get a look there at B.J. Mack. A little while ago, Dari was talking about that Auburn and Georgia matchup, which is coming up after us on the SEC Network. This Georgia team's been close this year. They haven't been able to get over the hump. How dangerous a spot is this for Auburn?
I think it's huge for Auburn. Georgia coming off of a win on the road. Auburn, what makes them unique is their depth. Them and Tennessee in this league have just incredible depth. 10 guys playing 15-plus minutes. Very unselfish team. A lot of buy-in goes into that.
South Carolina just 2 off of its season high in rebounding. They've got 43 rebounds. Just one of the things that stands out is the 15 offensive rebounds. And Zachary Davis has got 5 of those. In fact, Zachary Davis is 1 rebound away from his first career double-double. He's got 12 points and 9 rebounds today for the Gamecocks.
So you feel like if Ole Miss can get a turnover here, a quick shot.
Three on the way. Michi couldn't get it to go, and it's a rebound for Cisse.
Chance to get it in single digits.
A minute to play. Juju Murray. And the rebound goes to South Carolina. If Ole Miss makes that shot,
they're not going to get it over the line. Ooh.
Long pass ahead to B.J. Mack. And now Davis. Zachary Davis with the exclamation mark.
Career night for him. Played well.
New career high for Zachary Davis with 14 points. Morrell going to try a long 3. That's the kind of day it's been.
Yeah, South Carolina's defense has made very few mistakes, and then you add in the combination of Ole Miss just couldn't make shots, man. I mean, there are days like that. You're going to have days like that, unfortunately.
Zachary Davis picks up his 4th foul, and Lamont Paris immediately went to the bench. 18 seconds remaining. Ugasuk is going to come in and replace him in just a moment with Nunez at the free throw line.
Well, listen, we talked about how he's done everything in the stat sheet. 9 rebounds, 4 fouls, 14 points. He's done it all.
It is a good day for Zachary Davis, who played 31 minutes, making his 10th consecutive start. Getting a little coaching as he comes to the bench at the end of the game. Ole Miss has made 3 threes today. That matches their season low. This is the worst shooting day of the season. Chris Beard's already at the half-court stripe. It has been for a few seconds, ready to shake Lamont Paris's hand. They're going to let the time run out. As South Carolina gets a win on the road, they pick up their 10th win of the season in SEC play and move to 22-5 overall. That's after losing 21 games a season ago.
Yeah, it's an incredible turnaround. Coach Lamont Paris did a great job of identifying who he brings in, great decision makers, in a tough atmosphere at Ole Miss.
Thanks for being with us on this Saturday afternoon in Oxford, where B.J. Mack led South Carolina with 17 points. Final score, 72-59. For my partner, Pat Bradley, and our entire SEC Network crew, I'm Richard Cross. Good night, the SJB Pavilion.